Good day. What do you know about Lord Panswick?
I heard he owns the whole county.
Have you met him?
No, he lives out on the moors somewhere. But everyone does what he tells them to.
Why's that?
Because he has a lot of money.
Have you heard of a place called Hobbs Barrow?
No.
Goodbye. I'd better not touch them. They could be poisonous. It looks like something has been buried in the middle.
Thomasina, please stop leaving your toys lying about the place. What happened the last time you left your dolly under the tree?
A fox ate it, madame.
Yes, it did. Fetch it now, won't you? Then I'll fix your supper.
Yes, madame. There you are, Josephine. I won't let the foxes eat you.
Who's that you have there, little bird?
Josephine, she introduced me to the fairies.
Oh, fairies, you say?
Yes, Daddy.
Do you believe in fairies?
Of course. Do you see those mushrooms over there?
Yes.
That's a gateway to their kingdom. That's where Josephine and I go to talk to the fairies.
Now, listen to me, Thomasina.
Yes?
You're old enough now to hear this. There's no such thing as fairies or talking dolls, my little bird.
What do you mean?
I'm sorry, my dear child. I do not wish to upset you. I just want to make sure that you understand the difference between fantasy and reality. Josephine is just a doll, and fairies do not exist.
But, Daddy...
Science is the great antidote to the poison of enthusiasm and superstition. Please always remember that. If you hear anything about fairies or the like again, know that it's hogwash. What is it?
Hogwash. Did Wally bury the doll, I wonder? This must be Jane's ragdoll. Perhaps these wriggling worms are the fair folk young Wally was so fearful of. How strange. There is a hairpin pierced through the arm. This may come in handy. I'll keep it. At least I shall not return from Bewlay empty-handed. I present to you Myrtle.
Myrtle! I missed you so much.
Now, I believe we had a deal.
Hide and seek.
Come back! It's in moments like these I thank myself for not having children. Hey! Jane? Jane, get out of there. Don't make me come in. Fine. Curses. The hole is too small for me to fit through. I was always happiest with a trowel in my hand, uncovering hidden worlds within the earth itself. That should do it. Jane! Jane? Jane? Jane, come out this instant. I can't see a damned thing in here. I need a light source. I'm sorry to ask this, Mr. Kemp, but could I please open a tab?
Still not in your purse?
I'm afraid not. My assistant hasn't arrived as planned, so I find myself in a bind. He must have put the money in my crate, which is currently being held in Mr. Price's storeroom.
Well, as you know, I run an honest establishment here, and I do trust you. So yes, I'll open an account for you, to be settled at the end of your stay.
Of course. Thank you, Mr. Kemp.
Now then, I'll be needing something of value as a deposit.
I thought you said you trusted me.
Aye, it's not personal, lass. One can never be too cautious.
I found Mr. Shoulder's home, thanks to the help of Father Roach.
Wonderful! So you've met our vicar then?
Yes, I did. An interesting character.
Indeed. So, did old Leonard apologise for his absence?
Not quite. He wasn't home.
What is that man playing at?
You tell me. I've decided to find Hobbs Barrow without Mr. Shoulder's aid.
Are you sure that's a wise idea, lass?
What other choice do I have? I have a feeling he is avoiding me. Do you know where I can find the Barrow?
No, sorry. I say that on my mother's grave, Miss Bateman.
My assistant has not arrived as planned.
Oh, is everything all right?
I'm not entirely sure.
Am I to keep a room for him just in case?
If you could hold it for one more night, Mr. Kemp.
As you wish.
What can you tell me about Lord Panswick?
A most charming man, Miss Bateman. He looks after us here, a good fellow.
Where does he live?
Panswick Manor, on the moors. No visitors allowed. His lordship likes his privacy.
Goodbye.
See you soon.
Will you accept this silver cross pendant as a deposit?
Can I take a closer look at it? Aye, silver. That'll do.
Thank you, Mr. Kemp.
Can I get you something to drink?
Not right now, Mr. Kemp.
As you were.
Good day to you, Cyril.
How do, lass?
What do you make of Henry Long?
An idiot who thinks that station's a good idea. Can you imagine? Strangers pouring into Bewlay. Turns the stomach, that does.
Maybe he has a point. You could travel.
Bah! You're an outsider. I'd expect you to have such a bad opinion. But Henry, he's a Bewlay lad. We've had the odd Barney or two in the pub over it all.
I can imagine. Can I buy you a drink, Cyril?
Now?
Yes.
Go on then, lass.
Follow me.
So then he turns around and says, "Why is a dog like a tree?" And I says, "I don't know." And he says, "Because they both lose their bark once they're dead."
Very droll, Cyril. Well, it's been a pleasure, but I must be off.
Aye, lass. Ta for the drink. You're not too bad for an outsider.
Hello.
Good day.
Can I buy you a drink, Henry?
Really?
Really? We can talk more at the inn.
But I told Mr. Price I'd keep watch of his storeroom.
Doors have locks for this very reason.
You're right. One drink won't take long. I shall take you up on your offer, Miss Bateman.
Let us make our way.
To think, if that station hadn't been built, we would never have met. Blessed be the Midland Railway.
Idiot! That station is the worst decision this village has ever made!
Cyril Farnaby, a miserable man with miserable ideas. I will change your mind even if it kills me.
Kenneth taught me this useful trick. A hairpin is much more than a hair accessory. A few wiggles and this lock should spring right open. I've snapped the hairpin in the process, but I managed to unlock the door. Let's open this envelope. There's a note inside. How very frustrating. I wonder what happened. I'd better get this to the alley before Mr. Long comes back. Moving a fully laden crate through the village square was no easy task. Somehow, no one was there to witness it. But I didn't give up, because I never give up, do I, Mother? I am as stubborn as my father, as you liked to remind me. Wait. Where is my money? It's not in here. Kenneth, you absolute liability of a man. It looks like everything else is in here. Picks, specimen trays, shovels. Oh, my chisel, I'll take that. Ah, my lantern. It feels light. There mustn't be any oil inside. I'll leave the rest in the crate. Stanley assured me things would be safe here. No money and no assistant. This is most inconvenient. Still, I've been in worse situations. I've got a tab at the inn for now. I'll worry about money later. I must find that barrow and get on with the excavation. It looks like the same make as my own. Good day.
Yes?
My name is Thomasina.
George Crozier. Can I help you?
Are you a Bewlay native, Mr. Crozier?
Aye, born and bred. That's where my father's forged before mine.
How is business faring?
I do an honest trade. There'll always be horses needing shoes and farmers needing tools. You let me know if you need out made or mended. I'll do you a fair price.
Thank you, Mr. Crozier. Do you know a man by the name of Leonard Shoulder?
Oh, aye. Old Leonard.
Have you seen him recently?
No, not recently.
Do you know where he lives?
Why all these questions, lass?
I need to speak with him. He invited me to Bewlay.
Oh, he'll turn up. I've seen him in the plough and furrow from time to time.
But do you know where he lives? I need to find him.
I believe he lives somewhere out on the moors. Can't tell you out more than that.
Thank you, Mr. Crozier. What can you tell me about Bewlay?
We don't get many visitors here, outside of market days. But there's plenty of work for the village blacksmith. Where are you from, then?
I arrived yesterday on the train from London, by way of Derby.
Oh, aye. I've heard about London.
What have you heard?
Plenty of factories there.
Yes, indeed. The city is always changing and moving forward.
Too busy for me, though, lass. I prefer a quieter pace. Aye.
I was wondering if you might be able to spare some lantern oil.
I don't have much to spare, lass. Paraffin is as rare as hen's teeth in these parts. How much coin do you have?
None, I'm afraid.
If you're in a bind, I can trade you a small amount.
A trade, you say?
Aye.
When do market days run in Bewlay?
Once or twice a month. The next one is tomorrow.
How delightful.
Unless your vice is cabbages, there'll be nought to interest a young lady.
I don't mind a cabbage.
Then you're in luck.
What can I trade you for some lantern oil?
Surprise me.
What can you tell me of Lord Panswick?
His lordship commands much respect around here, lass. Keeps me busy with work. Why do you ask?
Just curious. Do you know of a local landmark named Hobb's Barrow?
There's a fair many barrows found out on the moors, lass. Too many to put a name to. Not a soul in Bewlay pays them any mind.
Thanks for your time.
Aye. Speak to you later.
I can't pry the fossil from the rock with my bare hands. Splendid. I've managed to extract it in one piece. Would you trade some of your paraffin for this fossilized ammonite, Mr. Crozier?
Now then, 'tis a beauty, that. It looks familiar. I'll take it off your hands.
Wonderful.
Let me fetch some paraffin from inside. There you are.
Thank you, Mr. Crozier. My lantern is fueled and ready for action. Right, let's put this lantern to good use. Jane, come out at once. Goodness me! Jane!
Silly, what are you doing in that smelly old badger's hole?
You were in there.
No, I weren't.
Yes, you were.
Not true. I was hiding behind that tree over there. I got bored of waiting for you.
So where can I find Hobbs Barrow?
Go north from the church graveyard, up the hill. You'll see some muddy fields on the horizon. That's Mr. Bryden's farm. Hobbs Barrow is there. Don't tell any grown-ups I told you. And thanks for getting Myrtle back.
My pleasure. Thank you, Jane. You've been a great help. As I trudged through the barren moors, with only the odd sheep for company, I reflected upon my visit to Bewlay thus far. The enigmatic Mr. Shoulder and his puzzling disappearance. The townsfolk of Bewlay who had made it as difficult as they could for me to find Hobbs Barrow. The suspicion, the wariness in their eyes. Only now I know it was actually fear. In the end, it was the innocence of a child, young Jane, that condemned me to my fate.
What do you want?
Thanks for your time.
Ta-ra now.
I'm not sure they would be interested. Hello there, sir.
Yes?
My name is Thomasina Bateman. Mr. Bryden, I presume.
Aye? What do you want, lass?
I understand Hobbs Barrow is located on your land.
Oh, well, yes. Why'd you ask?
I am an antiquarian, Mr. Bryden. I'm writing a volume on the Barrows of England.
Oh, I suppose you'll be wanting to dig about it.
If at all possible, Mr. Bryden. I was invited to Bewlay by Mr. Leonard Shoulder, who told me such an excavation would be possible.
Leonard Shoulder? Ha! I haven't seen him in years. The last I heard he were on death's door. There's to be no more digging there, lass. Not since it went so badly last time.
Was there a previous excavation of Hobbs Barrow?
Aye. Me brother dug it up. Must have been, 25 years ago. You see, whatever he found inside, well, it drove him mad.
Oh?
Aye. I moved back here to look after him. Poor bastard hanged himself not long after.
I'm sorry, Mr. Bryden. That's terrible.
Aye. Time passes, but it were an awful thing.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Bryden.
I live here with my wife, and I might be long in tooth, but I can still run this farm without too much help.
What did your brother find?
Samuel. Samuel were his name.
Sorry, what did Samuel find in the barrow?
I don't know, but something went wrong. Afterward, he could barely speak. You couldn't make out a word, like.
That must have been hard.
He lost a hand in that excavation too, you know.
Goodness me, how?
I try hard not to speculate on what might have happened, lass. I'd see him disappear into that barrow, dragging timber in with him. You'd hear him hammering away for hours. I offered him help, but he'd have none of it. Soon enough, he blocked the entrance off. To look at it now, you'd never know the thing we dug up. The land has reclaimed it.
Who else was involved in the excavation?
2 others, I believe. Outsiders, perhaps. I can't say for sure. I think they left town pretty swiftly afterwards. I lived in Bakewell at the time. I only moved back here to look after Samuel. I took over the farm when he passed away.
I see. What can you tell me about your farm?
Samuel's fair aside, we're a fortunate family. The soil is fertile here. Crops grow without too much trouble. All the other farmers round here raise livestock, even Lord Panswick. We grow feed for him.
Most fortunate, Mr. Bryden. Is your wife home?
She's out in fields, lass, pulling weeds. The curse of such fertile soil. 40 years we've been married. I couldn't do it without her, you see.
How splendid.
Aye, my wife is a fine woman. Are you married, lass?
No. I've had my fair share of proposals, Mr. Bryden, but that's not the life for me.
Marriage is an important institution. You'll find a man one day.
I manage rather well without one, Mr. Bryden. You haven't seen Mr. Shoulder for some time?
I hear about him now and then, but it must be a good few years since I set eyes on him.
He hasn't been here to visit Hobbs Barrow?
Not to my knowledge. I heard he's beset by ailments. Don't leave his home often.
How odd. I assumed he'd spoken to you about my visit.
Not at all.
What can you tell me of Lord Panswick?
He keeps us going. Most of our crops go to feed his animals.
What is he like?
Oh, I've hardly laid eyes on him. He sends his workers here to pick up the crops.
I see. You say Mr. Shoulder is at death's door. What exactly ails him?
I'm unsure. It's just what I've heard. I wouldn't want to speculate on matters that are not my business.
Mr. Bryden, may I please have your permission to excavate Hobbs Barrow?
No. Have you not been listening, lass? Samuel found something in there that's best left to rot. No digging here, lass.
As you wish.
Good. You've come to your senses.
Thanks for your time.
Ta-ra now.
I'm not sure they would be... Hello there, sir.
Yes?
Perhaps I can at least see Hobbs Barrow.
I suppose you've come a long way to be here, lass.
All the way from London, Mr. Bryden.
Have you any proof of all you've told me?
You wish to see proof of what, Mr. Bryden?
I can't let any Tom, Dick or Harry wander around me fields. What proof have you of your claims?
Thanks for your time.
Ta-ra now.
Here is proof that Mr. Shoulder invited me to Bewlay in order to excavate Hobbs Barrow.
Leonard making bold promises, I see. Don't make me regret this, but yes, you can have a look at it.
Thank you.
Any road. Once you've set your eyes on it, you won't be wanting outdo with it. The place gives one a queer feeling.
So where can I find it?
Through that gate to your left. Just head straight across the top to the field there. After 10 minutes or so, you'll see Barrow, set on a hill ahead.
Thank you again, Mr. Bryden. I really do appreciate it. I probably should have brought my umbrella. Finally, here it is. Hobbs Barrow. Indeed, a barrow of a most unusual rectangular form. I've not seen something like this since West Kennet Long Barrow. Yes, this shall make a fine entry for my book. What secrets do you conceal, I wonder? That smell. Earthy and sweet.
Three, 2, 1. You can open your eyes now, Thomasina. Come. Are you ready for your first excavation?
Yes, Daddy.
Capital. Make sure you remember everything I've taught you. I have a feeling you might find something special.
How exciting.
I'll be watching from the steps, my little bird. Good luck.
Thank you, Daddy. Now I'm ready. No treasures here. Nothing here. Treasure! Daddy, I found the treasure! Look!
Well done, little bird. Your first successful excavation. That urn you're holding is very old and precious. Take good care of it, all right?
I will, Daddy. I promise.
AR. I haven't a clue what that could be referring to. Darkness falls quickly here. I should make my way back to the inn.
Good evening, Miss Bateman.
Good evening, Stanley. I found Hobbs Barrow.
Oh, remember what I said, Miss Bateman? There are stories connected to that place.
Yes, stories you won't elaborate on, I might add. Don't worry about me, Stanley. I'm quite capable of warding off imagined fiends.
I have no doubt, but please leave that place be.
I've come this far, there's no turning back now.
That's precisely what worries me.
Goodbye.
See you soon.
Time for bed. Tomorrow I shall convince Mr. Bryden to allow me to begin my excavation.
Miss Bateman. How are you?
Tired.
Gonna buy you a drink?
No thanks, Mr. Tillett.
Please, Miss Bateman. I feel bad about what happened last night. I'm sorry I can't remember it.
That's all right, Mr. Tillett. Alcohol can do all sorts of damage to one's memory.
I was thinking that maybe if we had another drink tonight, I might remember what happened.
I'm not sure that's logical.
But worth trying?
Oh, Mr. Tillett, if you insist.
Very good. Take your seat, Miss Bateman. I shall return with the goods.
To Leonard Shoulder.
Wherever he may be. I've been meaning to ask you something.
Yes?
Why did Leonard Shoulder ask you to dig up Hobbs Barrow?
Despite his disappearing act the previous evening, not to mention his questionable sobriety, I decided Mr. Tillett was to be my ally. I spoke again of Mr. Shoulder's letter, his proposed excavation, and my status as an antiquarian and barrow digger. He was fascinated and quite excited at the prospect of meeting the soon-to-be author of a real-life book.
You must find all manner of riches on your digs.
Barrow digging is not all success, Mr. Tillett. Often I'll come across the likeliest of sites steeped in promise. We set to work with shovel and pick and all the other barrow opening paraphernalia you can imagine. Every stone carefully taken down, every shovel full of earth put dutifully through the sieve, and we find nothing. Or you may find a miserable remnant of animal bone or a shard of pottery hardly to be recognised from the peat in which it decayed. Sometimes it's as if some Neolithic humorist prepared an elaborate practical joke for your special benefit.
It still sounds much more exciting than spending your days sitting in England's most remote railway station.
Are you all right, Mr. Tillett?
I've had another argument with Agnes.
Your wife?
Aye. She didn't want me coming to the plough tonight. Truth is, I've been drinking my life away since my mother passed.
Oh, that's terrible. I'm sorry for your loss.
You're kind, Miss Bateman. Thank you. It's been a year since the old girl left us. She had a horrible end, wasting away, day by day. Consumption got her. She was naught but bones by the end. I can't get the image out of my mind. She were everything to me.
I'm so sorry.
I apologise for going on, Miss Bateman. It's not appropriate.
Don't worry, Mr. Tillett. I appreciate your openness.
Used to love going for walks out in the moor, my mother and I, ever since I were a little one. She'd get a tear in her eye as she looked out upon it. She loved this land. I asked Mr. Crozier to build a bench, which we've erected at her favourite lookout spot on the moors. Margaret's Lookout, we called it. Aye.
That's a beautiful tribute.
Aye. If you take a seat there, do keep her in your thoughts, won't you?
Of course, Mr. Tillett. I can relate in some manner. My father had an accident when I was very young. He's still alive, but he can neither move nor speak. He spends his entire life bedbound and incapable of communicating or looking after himself in any way.
How dreadful.
He was a barrow digger himself, an antiquarian of some renown. He taught me so much, even though I was so young. I think writing this book is my way of carrying on his work. It helps me reclaim those earlier memories of him, and I visit him often to tell him all about my excavations.
Can he hear you?
I've no idea. The doctors aren't sure. I'd do anything to make him better, Mr. Tillett. I'd do anything to bring him back to the man he was. I am in a state of suspended mourning for a man caught between life and death.
Dreadful. Just dreadful.
We all have our weaknesses. Mine just happens to be my father.
And what of your mother?
A cold woman. We haven't talked in quite some time. I think she blamed me for my father's accident somehow.
You were but a child.
Indeed. She thus saw it fit that a governess should raise me as she spent her life grieving for my father.
Well then, I propose a toast.
A toast to what?
A shared sense of loss.
I'll toast to that, Arthur. Now then, enough of this wallowing.
Let us be merry. Another round.
I really shouldn't. But I did. And another after that. And another. The frustrations of my visit to Bewlay slipped away with each swill of Stanley's finest ale. We had great fun that night, Mr. Tillett and I. I treasure the memory.
Go on then. Let's hear those pipes.
Mustn't.
Sing the song.
You're incorrigible.
Please. You'll make a sad man happy.
Oh, all right then. Clasps, celts and arrowheads I'll try to claw within my clutch, and if a shield I should espy, I'll vow there ne'er was such.
With popish tricks and relics rare, the priests their flocks do gull. In casting out the earth take care. Huzzah! I've found a skull!
Hello, Thomasina.
What is this? Who are you?
I'm the one that saved your father.
What do you mean?
You were here 25 years ago.
My father?
You were deep down with the others. You were there, and something went wrong. I dragged him out.
Impossible.
I helped him then, and I can help him again.
I don't understand.
Believe my words. You'll find proof in morning. Now go. One more thing. This is not a dream.
Goodness, that was a terrible sleep.